All right, let's go into the next conversation to have about what the heck is going on. I think this was probably the best game of the weekend to me. The Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens ended up losing 28-24 at home, where the Ravens were actually a 4-point favorite to win in this game, which means they'll be only a 2-point dog in Pittsburgh. It's quite impressive to see that the Ravens are considered better than the Steelers, and Steelers have the best record right now. And Lamar Jackson, 208, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumbles. Just about any and everything you would imagine went wrong in that game went wrong in that way. So, Jimmy, in this one, who do you want to assign blame to, since we're assigning blame today?
I am. Oh God. I mean, to be consistent and to be fair, since that's what we try to be on this show,
right?
If I'm going to get on Cam for his turnovers, I have to get on Lamar for his turnovers. Now, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel because in terms of his turnovers, but I got to put it on Lamar. That's very uncharacteristic for him to have 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Probably means that, yes, that Steelers defense is ferocious. I understand that. But he was probably trying to do a little too much. And this, honestly, 208 and 2 touchdowns, passing-wise, since this is probably his best game as a passer since week 1. Because ever since then, he's had a really, really hard time throwing the ball for whatever reason. And I think part of that is because, and this happens a lot with running quarterbacks, in order to save them from themselves, in a sense, what they'll do is try to turn them into pocket passers. And they don't understand that their ability to run is tied to their ability to pass, like their comfort level and just how it is within their rhythm in the flow of the game. They got to be able to have the green light to run whenever they want, so that they can be able to feel comfortable passing whenever they want. So I think that there may be some of that going on. So moving forward, yes, I do blame Lamar. But if you commit 4 turnovers and your team only loses by 4 points against presumably the best team in the league record-wise, right? Because they don't have a loss.
Yep.
Then
they're the only undefeated team, yeah.
Only undefeated team. So you have to feel really good about that. But 4 turnovers, that's not going to get it done against the elite teams like this, or like the Kansas City Chiefs, which they are 0-2 against this season. So it's Lamar.
Okay. To be fair.
Yeah.
And like I said, that the whole purpose of the show is being fair. I assign the blame in this game to Lamar as well. Lamar has to produce better without the turnovers. This is the same thing I got on to Josh Allen for in his games, and this is my concern for him, is that he is a turnover machine. Lamar has turned into a turnover machine so far this year. So far this season, shockingly, this is 2 of the 4 picks he's thrown this entire year, which can't call him a turnover machine if he's only got 4 picks, 12 touchdowns. And he's got 3 fumbles this year, which 2 of them came in this game. So he isn't a turnover machine. This is very much uncharacteristic of him. And I think it is more of a testament to how good the Steelers defense is. But at the same time, most of the blame that I assign in this is the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. I blame him for this. I blame him not for the bad passes that Lamar made, for the lack of creativity to get his receivers moving around the field. It looks like there is issues in paradise. Looks like Hollywood Brown tweeted out something in regards to, I got to go find the tweet, but he made a statement of, it'd be nice, I guess, if you could throw the ball or deep or get the ball to us. So I'm sensing that there is an issue when it comes to when it comes to schematically getting everybody involved like they're supposed to. And this is my point behind that. Lamar had a decent game. Decent overall. If you look at the numbers, he rushed for 65 yards, he threw for 208, and they only lost by 4 points with his 4 turnovers. Their defense was vicious the entire game. They were up 17-7 at the end of the first half, and the Steelers' offense didn't score. They scored because of the pick 6. Without that pick 6, it's 17-0.
That's right.
If not 24-0. The Ravens, they didn't abandon the run this year, which I'm proud of them because they rushed for 265 yards. They were pounding it. They were getting it. The turnovers is what cost them the game. This was all on Lamar on that portion of it, but I think schematically, Mike Tomlin's defense was ready for him. He was ready for He was ready for the routes that they were going to run. But you can't stop a power run offense like this because they're just really good at running. So I'm blaming it more on Roman's creativity on the pass game. But the biggest thing is Lamar Jackson can't turn. Lamar Jackson has to help his defense.
That really pisses me off what you said about Hollywood Brown. I can't believe that he did that.
It's starting to happen.
As a second-year receiver who hasn't become an elite receiver, you can't say things like that. And I know this is kind of a part of the psychological makeup of a lot of receivers who know they're really talented and who know that they can produce more. But I really hate that he said that. It's not to say that he doesn't have a point. Because if you look at their offense...
Here's the tweet.
Yes.
What's the point of having soldiers when you never use them?
Soldiers.
That was his, and then he put in parentheses never with exclamation points. He wasn't very happy about his role.
Okay, now so maybe he has a point because let's say you look at them in the Kansas City Chiefs. Each team has an All-Pro tight end. Each team has a Blazer, Hollywood Brown and Tyreek Hill. Each team has a reliable possession receiver, like Sammy Watkins and
Snead actually has become that guy right now. Yeah, exactly. Snead's become their possession guy.
Yeah, a stable of running backs, even though Kansas City has better running backs. And there's something I don't understand, too, and I bet this does happen. I think this does happen, where offensive coordinators look at the offenses of other teams and then they don't necessarily adopt their scheme because that's personnel dependent or quarterback dependent, but use certain plays and maybe tweak it to where it's not 100% robbery, maybe like 75% robbery of that particular play. So he kind of has a point in the sense of you have all of these great offensive coordinators out there. The film is available for everybody, no matter who you are. So why don't you scheme up more creative opportunities in order to get people like me who has elite level speed open and in the end zone?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got a point. It's just the wrong format, the wrong medium. I know that's part of what today's young NFL player does, or just young professional athlete will do, is air their feelings and their grievances out through social media, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But he may have a point, or maybe that's to ignite a discussion somehow with his offensive coordinating staff.
Right. And the way the team plays, he is the burner, so you need to find ways to scheme it, get into him. And against the Steelers, it's tough because that front four is solid enough to where they can get enough pressure. Yeah. Because one of the fumbles that Lamar had, he stepped into the pocket to throw it, and they strip sacked him from behind. I don't blame quarterbacks that much for the strip sacks. In that circumstance, when they move into the pocket to throw it upfield, because that's what you're supposed to do. Right. That's the point of the pocket, is to step in, feel the pressure, and launch it. And that's what he did. He stepped forward, and then the defender came around his lineman, which I think that was after they lost Stanley, who they lost the ankle injury, which that adds to the list of things that's not going good.
Yeah.
But he stepped up to throw it, and that's when he sacked. But the running fumble was definitely on him. The pick six was stupid. It was telegraphed, even though it's funny because we talked about it in our group text. He didn't telegraph it, but he telegraphed it. Did you notice what he did?
I didn't.
He looked off the defender and then tried to quickly throw it, and the defender didn't get looked off. Like he followed his eyes, but he's like, "Oh, you're not going that direction." He ran across.
Film study.
Yeah. Yeah. He basically tried to pull a Patrick Mahomes of like a no-looker. He looked him off, and then he went back real quick. But he did it the way you're supposed to. Look the defender off, and then boom. But the defender, film study, Mike Tomlin and film study. The thing that you know is good coaching is when the defense can recognize that
I think he's got to run more. He's got to run more. That's the only way that he's going to feel comfortable with the pass game, and that's part of the only way that the pass game is going to open up more for him. I know we worry about him getting hit or getting injured, but I think at this point, hasn't he proven that he can either avoid the big shot or for the ones that he gets, that he can take it, since he took it all last season and the 4 to 5 games before that he started? I mean, you have this worried look on your face like you're John Harbaugh that you don't want him running, you don't want him to get level. But doesn't he have to in order to get the most out of him?
It's not that. This is the problem. He ran it 16 times last game. He's running it a lot. He don't need to run it 20 times in a game. The problem I saw is they need to open up the playbook, stop going so vanilla, especially against a team like the Steelers. They probably need to add more. Somebody had mentioned this on Twitter, and I thought this was quite fascinating. They were saying that this was the issue with Greg Roman with Kaepernick after the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. Team started in the NFC Championship game against Seattle. They figured out what was going to come because Greg Roman was doing basically the same things. Last year, it was brand new, fresh, and it was easy for Lamar Jackson to deceive everybody on the field because they didn't know what was coming. everybody's got a year of film. Like you said, film study. Now you got film study. You know what's going to come. You have an idea of what's coming next out of this team. And it doesn't seem like Roman prepared with new stuff. He only targeted Hollywood twice in this game. Against the Steelers, you need to target him 7 times. They probably do need to throw the ball more. He threw it 28 times. You probably need to throw it 35. Just so the run game and the pass game can balance. Because they had the ball. They ran the ball 47 times in this game, Jimmy.
But that's part of their recipe for success, right?
It is. But that's the thing. He threw it 28 times. That means they had 75 plays to the Steelers 48.
Wow.
They ran out of plays. They ran out of offensive plays. Like, legitimately, J.K. Dobbins had 15 carries for 113. Gus Edwards had 16 for 87. And then Lamar 16 for 65. And then he threw the ball 13 for 28. The completions were bad because the defense was prepared.
But you know what? By that metric, it looks like both of the running backs and Lamar are running the ball well. Maybe they should have passed even less and then run the ball even more. That's potentially one less interception or one less fumble.
It could be, but you got to remember, these are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a lot smarter defensively than most. They've always got a top 10 defense. If not top 15 minimum. So we have to pay respects to them and what they're doing on the field by actually, mixing things up on 80-something plays.
Right.
So
that's something interesting to look at with this Ravens team moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to start paying attention more to how many plays they run.
Me too.
Because it looks like their defense is doing their part. I said, the offense got to help, but the offense is doing their part too. If you look at it, 80-something plays, 85 plays, 65 plays.
The Steelers, which is 4 points better, and that's part of the reason why they're undefeated and why they are the Steelers with, tied for the most Super Bowls in the history of the NFL. So, I mean, like I said, you chalk this up to, okay, I had 4 turnovers. I didn't play my best game, but we only lost by 4 points. We'll get them again.
Yep.
So let's look forward to that.
The Ravens should be prepared for the next game.
Yes.
And I expect the Ravens to win the next game by maybe 2 touchdowns.
They're going to run it 60 times, throw 15.
Actually, they're probably going to run it 47 times again, and they're going to pass it about 30 times.
Yeah.
And this time he'll actually complete passes because it'll make more sense. But no, to get off of the soapbox, that's the key piece. The offense got to help the defense. And in this game, the offense helped the defense, but the turnovers cost them, especially at the end of the game. Don't do costly turnovers. So.